Today, we're going to take conventional wisdom, flip it completely on its head, and look at why human resources are actually the ultimate driver of global prosperity. We're diving into a really fascinating framework known as the mind-mind principle. If you've ever found yourself wondering why some countries sit on unbelievable natural wealth but still struggle economically, while others with practically zero natural resources absolutely thrive, well, this framework is going to completely change how you view global economics.
Let's jump right into this massive global paradox, particularly when we look at Africa. We're talking about a continent possessing extreme physical wealth right there beneath the soil, yet simultaneously grappling with major economic dependency above ground. It's a staggering reality, right? I mean, why do the most resource-rich nations on the planet export their raw materials for pennies on the dollar, only to turn around and import the finished goods made from those exact same materials at an enormous premium?
And that brings us to Section 1. The Great Resource Paradox and Africa's Challenge. Africa is undeniably one of the richest continents on Earth when it comes to physical resources. Just think about it. Gold, diamonds, oil, cocoa, timber, lithium, which, by the way, is absolutely critical for the future of green energy, bauxite, copper, rare earth minerals, the list goes on. This is literally the bedrock of modern civilization. Yet, as the source material highlights, these incredible assets are overwhelmingly exported in their rawest possible forms. The wealth is just leaving the continent before its true value is ever realized.
Moving on to Section 2, beneath versus above ground and the two resource types. The source establishes a really powerful development philosophy here, using a simple yet brilliant play on words. On one side, we have a mine, spelled with an E. This represents physical extraction, everything beneath the ground. On the other side, we have a mind, with a D, and this represents the intellectual engine above the ground. The whole philosophy here is that it's actually the mind that transforms the raw, dormant resources of the mine into actual, usable wealth.
So what exactly constitutes that mind? Well, we're talking about knowledge, education, creativity, innovation, science, technology, entrepreneurship, and problem solving. A lot of times, people might look at nature's bounty and just think it's free. They might look at a raw mineral and assume the wealth is already just sitting there. But to actually unlock it requires immense mental resources. These human resources, our ability to think, invent, and build, are the true catalysts. This is exactly why your mind is the biggest mine on Earth. Without it, the physical mind is really just dirt and rocks.
This brings us to what the source calls the Great Lesson. And honestly, this profoundly illustrates the core message of our explainer today. It goes like this: a mind without a mind creates dependence. A mind applied to a mind creates prosperity. It's so simple, but so true. Simply possessing a resource doesn't make a country wealthy. Possessing the knowledge to transform it does. If you only have the mind, you're always going to depend on someone else's mind to make it valuable for you.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the power of transformation and the power of the mind. This totally illustrates the alchemy of human potential. Think about it. You take a raw mine asset like cocoa, you apply the mind through manufacturing and branding, and boom, you output chocolate, a vastly more lucrative industry. Take timber, apply housing systems and paper technology, and you get furniture and consumer products. You take raw lithium out of the earth, apply advanced battery tech, and you get the electric vehicles that are literally shaping our future. Or take oil, apply petrochemical science, and you get plastics and life-saving pharmaceuticals. The immense markup in price, that happens entirely during that intellectual transformation.
Okay, let's head into Section 4, the new African formula and an African vision.
To change the game, we absolutely have to replace the old dependent loop of simply mining and immediately exporting. That historical model is basically just leaving all the real money on the table. Instead, the new formula requires injecting human intelligence directly into the equation before anything ever leaves the borders. The real wealth, as the source insists, isn't actually in the raw material itself. It's in the value added by the human mind.
Let's break down this 5-step formula because it provides a highly actionable roadmap. Step 1 is still the mind, but instead of just jumping straight to export, we move to Step 2, process. Then Step 3, manufacture. Step 4, brand, and only then do we arrive at Step 5, export. It's a massive shift. Real economic power and global influence are captured precisely during those middle stages, the processing, manufacturing, and branding. Because you know what? That is exactly where jobs are created and economies are fortified.
Moving into our final section, Section 5, your mind is the mine, the ultimate resource.
This whole philosophy builds into this amazing, compounding cycle of prosperity through 7 distinct pillars.
First, you discover the mind, sure, but then you must aggressively develop the mind. You connect that developed mind to the physical mind to create industries. Those industries create jobs. Those jobs create wealth. But Step 7 is the real kicker here. Reinvest in education and innovation. By reinvesting that wealth right back into education, every single mind essentially becomes a school that fuels millions of future opportunities. It's an infinite loop of human capital development.
Now, this reveals a pretty stark truth about global economics today. If a country has abundant physical resources but very little innovation, their prosperity remains severely limited. I mean, we see this all over the world, right? But if a country has high innovation but practically zero natural resources, it can still create massive, massive wealth. Human innovation is the independent variable of success. Obviously, when a nation combines both abundant resources and brilliant innovation, economic growth absolutely accelerates. But at the end of the day, human resources and innovation are inherently superior to physical extraction alone.
Which brings us to this incredibly powerful African vision presented in the source material. The continent's greatest resource may not be the gold beneath its soil, but the creativity, intelligence, and imagination within its people. It's such a beautiful vision, and it really reminds us that the 21st century African Renaissance is going to be built from what is developed in the human mind, not just what is passively extracted from the earth. The mind is just a gift from nature, but the mind, that's the engine of transformation.
So, the absolute crucial takeaway from this explainer is this. The power to create is more powerful than destroying our fertile land. For way too long, the focus has just been on digging, extracting, and leaving the land barren. But leveraging our mental resources to create new value, to innovate, to build entire industries from scratch, that is infinitely more powerful, sustainable, and prosperous than merely destroying our natural environment for some quick exported cash.
We've seen today that transforming resources into lasting wealth requires a massive fundamental shift, from what's beneath our feet to what's between our ears. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. What are you doing today to extract, refine, and utilize the limitless potential buried within your own intellect? How will you develop the greatest mind on earth? Thank you so much for exploring the mind-mind principle with me today.
You are now listening to the Almighty Dread. Support the vision and mission. It's time for change. It's time to transform Africa. Can you see it? Because I can. Like, share, subscribe, so we can keep doing the great work that we're doing. Much appreciated. Thank you.